So, I recently replaced a TV. My new TV has decided to finally do away with a VGA input. Problem is, I use VGA for a number of things. In fact, I have a VGA switcher. So, I got myself this thing from JCar, which is a nice little VGA to HDMI adapter. It even has audio in here as well, and requires 5 volts. So I got myself a new HDMI cable so that I can hook this up. And to deal with the 5 volt stuff, I have a power board that has a USB distribution block on it. And I got this little thing here. It should allow me to interface 5 volt DC to the unit. If I can get the top of the thing off. These staples can be a problem. So, one of these. A set of instructions on how not to blow up your computer with it, and a set of plugs. So we're going to find which plug fits this. I'm going to guess a large one, which I think is a 5.5 2.5. Feels about right. Let's see if the 5.5 2.1 will fit it, which is more likely to be the one. Yep, 5.5 2.1 fits it. They don't tell you if it's a center positive or not. I may have to do some probing to figure that out. So let's undo you, have a look here, unroll. Now we should have a positive marker for the tip, so that'll make center positive, but we're going to pull this nifty little trick here to figure out the polarity on that. Okay, so over the side here I have my distribution box, and I'm going to plug into the bottom probes, and then I'm going to turn on the 12 volt side. What that will give us is a continuity beeper that allows us to do that. So what we can do from this is we can determine which pin we have as ground. So we're going to go off the IO, or the outer shield of that, which should be ground. We have 2 pins grounded on that. Let's try a different polarity because there may be a component between them. Oh dear, this could be difficult to figure out. Let me get some blue tack. Okay, we have some blue tack here to hold things in position. Let's go off the negative terminal in here and check the shield. We do. Let's go off the positive terminal in here, and we have a connection to the shield. I'm going to have to actually open this up to determine the polarity. Okay, we have our board open, and there's a good big area here that is all negative shield, and we can see it's connected to the negative on the capacitor here. So we're going to work out which one of these 2 pins connects to the shield. Now there's usually 3 pins on these. One is a switched output that will bridge. But let's have a look here. So we can see this first one here. Let's zoom in a bit so you guys can see what's going on. You'll see here that this pin here has little bridges over to the negative shield here. This is our center pin connection, and that is isolated. That's more than likely positive. These 2 that bridge together, the switched outputs, are both connected to this big shield all the way around here that's through-holed over to the other side. That's our negative shield. So it's most likely center positive, which is what we expected, but we wanted to check. You can see here is the negative side of our capacitor. If we go over to the other side of the board here, we can see that that pin is also connected to the shield. So that gives us an idea that the shield is negative, which would be what we would expect, but sometimes these things are not. And it looks like there's a little plug-in here. We've got a, where are we, SDA, something else, a ground, and an SCL. That might be a video output jumper on there. Interesting stuff. I always like to check on these boards and see what's going on inside in them. So yes, we definitely have an audio in here with some balancing resistors. And it looks like everything is really handled and everything else. This is probably a 3.3 volt regulator. Let's have a quick little look here. Let's see if we can see a part number on here. Wow, zoom level is a bit off the charts. Let's come back a bit. So we see that is an AMS 1117. Let me look what that is. So I did a quick Google search in between the pause there. The AMS1117 is a 3.3 volt monolithic or advanced monolithic systems regulator. So it's providing a 3.3 volt reference, which is needed for HDMI. This is a HDMI conversion chip, and this is our timing crystal, which I can't see what frequency that is. In any case, let's keep going. Okay, so we've got it plugged in my powered USB hub here. I'm going to check the polarity here. Let's see here. 5 volts and correct polarity. That is with a positive in the center pinhole. Okay, and that would correlate to the plus matching the tip. So everything seems to correlate. Let's plug this in before I plug a HDMI in and see if the light comes on. The light comes on. Being a diode, that wouldn't happen if the polarity was backwards. Okay, we have a bit of a right angle thingy going on here, but we can deal with that. Alright, let's see if we can get VGA input. Alright, so we're up behind my TV here, and we're going to explain a bit of what's going on. This is a VGA or HDMI splitter. Behind that is a DVR where you can see there's twinkling lights. That DVR has both HDMI and a VGA output, which comes through this VGA switcher. There's also an auxiliary VGA lead that runs up here into that switcher for when I want to do extra stuff like legacy things. So that VGA lead comes out in this blue one. It's going through the converter off to HDMI. And from here we have our 5 volt in from our power board there. I'm going to mount this in a more secure position at some point. This is our DVR in here at the moment. We're going to switch it to VGA. So let's switch to a VGA input here, showing up as HDMI 2. Inputs here, I think the DVR was on position A. Hopefully that's still working. Ah, there we go. We have a VGA input. Slightly discolored, but that's okay. Still, VGA works. I'm happy. Now I've got to tuck all this out of the way and add some zip ties. Alright, so that's it for the model HWH-2058. It works, does the job. I'm not sure how it's going to do with more advanced VGA options, but it certainly works better than previous ones I've had, which didn't work. So we're all good. We have a substitute for my old TV. For the record, we're going to show the manual in here for those leads, which show you pretty much what to do in here. This is an MP 1985 from JCAR. It's a PowerTech product. Not too hard to come up with and not too hard to really understand. But anyway, I'm going to show it all the same because people often ask. Anyhow, hope it was an interesting one. This is a bit of channel filler till something more meaningful comes along. Hope you had fun.